The Darien Gap is a challenging and largely undeveloped region that serves as a natural barrier between Colombia and Panama. This approximately 60-mile stretch of dense rainforest is notable for being the only break in the Pan American Highway, which otherwise connects the Americas from Alaska to the southern tip of South America. The terrain is characterized by steep mountains, muddy swamps, and dense rainforests, making it one of the most inhospitable areas in the world. Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you why crossing the Darien Gap is nearly impossible, but still thousands of people try to cross it and die when they even start their journey. So let's start the video. The Darien Gap features a diverse geography including the Atrato River Delta in Colombia, which creates marshland, and the mountainous rainforest on the Panamanian side where peaks can reach over 6,000 feet. The region is home to various indigenous groups, primarily the Embera Vunon and Guna peoples, and has a sparse population due to its challenging living conditions. In recent years, the Darien Gap has gained notoriety as a major transit route for migrants seeking to reach the United States. This shift has been driven by increasing violence, political instability, and economic hardship in countries like Venezuela, Haiti, and Ecuador. The number of migrants crossing the gap surged dramatically from about 10,000 per year before 2021 to over 520,000 in 2023, making it a critical pathway for those fleeing dire circumstances. Migrants face numerous dangers during their journey through the gap, including treacherous terrain, exposure to disease, and threats from criminal groups. The crossing typically takes 7 to 15 days, during which travelers often rely on guides to navigate the complex landscape as there are no paved roads or reliable communication services. The increase in migration through the Darien Gap has led to significant humanitarian challenges. Many migrants endure extreme hardships, including physical and sexual abuse as well as exploitation by smugglers. The region's lack of government oversight has allowed criminal organizations to thrive, further complicating the situation for those attempting to cross. The Darien Gap's unique position as a land bridge between continents, combined with its environmental challenges and the current migration crisis, makes it a focal point for discussions about migration policies and humanitarian aid in the Americas. Alright, but why is this Darien Gap considered the most dangerous place on planet Earth? Well, there are several key reasons why the Darien Gap is considered one of the most dangerous migration routes in the world. The Darien Gap is covered in dense tropical rainforest, steep mountains, and vast swamps. The region hosts some of the highest mountain ridges in Panama, as well as hundreds of rivers and heavily forested valleys. Frequent heavy rains and flash floods are common, often triggering landslides in the mountainous terrain. There is no road, bridge, or other infrastructure that would facilitate crossing the Darien Gap. Travel is conducted only by small boats or traditional watercraft or by hiking, which is extremely strenuous and dangerous. The Darien Gap is home to deadly wildlife like crocodiles and venomous snakes. It is also one of the wettest regions in the world, with hot, humid conditions that exacerbate thirst and hunger and spread tropical diseases. Migrants face persistent thirst, hunger, and the risk of contracting illnesses with no access to medical care. Criminal enterprises like drug and human trafficking are widespread in the Darien Gap. Migrants are often extorted, assaulted, or kidnapped by armed groups. Law enforcement presence is virtually non-existent, allowing violent crime to flourish. Attempts to build a road through the Darien Gap in the 1970s and 90s failed due to environmental concerns. The region is home to an extensive national park, and there are worries about the impact on the delicate ecosystem and indigenous communities that inhabit the area. So there are so many problems and dangers in this place. Why are people still going there? Migrants continue to attempt crossing the Darien Gap despite its numerous dangers due to a combination of dire circumstances in their home countries and the lack of viable alternatives for migration. Many migrants are fleeing extreme violence, political instability, and economic crisis in their home countries, particularly Venezuela and Haiti. The conditions in these nations often leave individuals with few choices but to seek safety and better living conditions elsewhere, primarily in the United States. The Darien Gap is the only overland route connecting Central and South America, with increased border restrictions and dangers on other migration routes. Many see this perilous journey as their best option to reach the US and claim asylum. The lifting of pandemic restrictions has led to a surge in migration. In 2023, over 500,000 people crossed the Darien Gap, a significant increase from previous years as more individuals and families attempt to escape deteriorating conditions in their home countries. For many, the hope of a better future outweighs the risks involved. The journey, though treacherous, is often seen as a necessary step towards achieving safety and stability for themselves and their families. Despite these risks, the compelling need for safety and a better life drives many to undertake this perilous journey, highlighting the complex interplay between desperation and hope in the face of overwhelming challenges. But the question that is coming in my mind right now is that human beings have built state-of-the-art cities in the deserts like Dubai, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Yet there is still no road, railway, or any route for transportation in the Darien Gap. Why is that? Despite the technological advancements and the ability to construct impressive cities in harsh desert environments, building a road or railway through the Darien Gap between Colombia and Panama remains an elusive challenge. There are several key reasons for this. The Darién Gap is an extremely rugged and inhospitable region characterized by dense jungle, steep mountains, and heavy rainfall. The difficult terrain and climate make construction and maintenance of any infrastructure extremely challenging and costly. Building a road or railway would require clearing large swaths of pristine rainforest, which is home to many endangered species. This would have significant negative environmental impacts and face strong opposition from environmental groups. The Darién Gap is a lawless area controlled by armed guerrilla groups and drug traffickers. Construction workers would face high risks of kidnapping, extortion, and violence from these groups. Providing adequate security would be extremely difficult and expensive. Given the high costs, environmental damage, and security risks, neither Colombia nor Panama has shown much political will to take on the massive project of building a road or railway through the Darién Gap. Securing the necessary funding would also be a major challenge. While the technology exists to build impressive infrastructure projects, the unique challenges of the Darién Gap have so far proven too difficult to overcome. The combination of rugged terrain, environmental concerns, security risks, and lack of political will has kept the Darién Gap road-free despite the technological advancements seen in other parts of the world. Another thing that is tickling my head is that America is very near to this Darién Gap area, and the US is not doing anything about building a road there. Why? Well, there are several key political and historical reasons why countries like the United States do not want to build a road or railway through the Darién Gap between Colombia and Panama. The Darién Gap serves as a natural barrier that slows down illegal immigration and drug trafficking from Colombia to the US via Panama. Building a road would make it much easier for migrants and drug smugglers to move between the two countries. The US has pressured Panama and Colombia to keep the gap closed for this reason. The Darién Gap is home to dense rainforests and sensitive ecosystems. There are concerns that building a road would cause extensive environmental damage, deforestation, and the spread of diseases. Indigenous groups in the area also oppose a road as it would threaten their way of life and food sources. There is little economic reason to build a road through the Darién Gap, as it would not significantly improve trade between Colombia and Panama. The costs of construction and maintenance are prohibitively high given the difficult terrain and isolation of the region. Efforts to build a road through the Darién Gap in the 1970s and 90s were halted due to environmental concerns and opposition from indigenous groups. The US also blocked funding for the road in the 1970s to prevent the spread of foot and mouth disease to North America. So the Darién Gap serves as a convenient barrier for the US and Panama to slow down illegal immigration and drug trafficking from Colombia. Building a road would be extremely costly, environmentally damaging, and politically contentious with little economic benefit. For these reasons, there is little political will to complete the Pan American Highway through this treacherous stretch of jungle. Alright, this concludes the video. If you believe this video has added value to your life, hitting that subscribe button and liking the video will indicate to me that you have indeed learned or discovered something today. If you want to know why Qatar is the richest country in the world and why it will remain rich in the next years or maybe next centuries, then you should watch the video currently displayed on your screen. Also, please leave some comments sharing your thoughts on the topic or anything you would like to say to me. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. Goodbye, and I'll see you next time.